Before we get to the top 10 WWE Mattel Elite figures of 2024, we got to do my top 10 sleeper figures that just missed the cut.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Best of 2024 countdown. In today's video, we're talking about some figures that just narrowly missed the cut in my top 10 WWE Elite figures of 2024. These 10 figures here just missed out just barely for whatever reason. Just couldn't quite crack the top 10, but as we do know, the Elite line comes out with so many figures every single year, I should almost do a top 50 countdown. However, I figured I'm going to do just 10 more that just missed the mark for whatever reason and have a little bit of celebration of these figures, because Mattel, they've had quality issues, they've had a lot of issues in 2024 that we haven't seen in the past. Primarily, it seems to be, from all intents and purposes, and looking at the figures, it is the Vietnam factory switch. We're getting paint problems, we're getting packaging problems, we're getting quality issue problems. I am very hopeful in 2025 that does get fixed, because we haven't had those issues with Mattel in years past, so we'll see where that goes. But a lot of good figures, like I said, this year, and I got to celebrate some of these ones that were outside of the top 10, so that's exactly what we're going to do in this very video. Of course, as usual, this is my list, so 100% right. Your list could be 100% right as well. Put those in the comments down below. Now, you probably should get your top 10 list, then do your sleeper elites that missed out on your top 10 list is what I would do for this one. But hey, it's your list, your rules in the comments down below. So without further ado, let's kick it off at the number 10 sleeper elite of 2024. All right, we begin the countdown of the top 10 sleeper elites of 2024, of course, at number 10. And number 10 might be a sleeper for me, maybe not for you, as some people really didn't like this figure. This figure has really grown on me, and I really do enjoy this figure as the dust settles here in 2024. We're going to Elite Series 111. We're going to Trish Stratus. Didn't quite make my top 5 female figures of the year list, but a very good Trish Stratus, and I feel a very underrated Trish Stratus. Now, a lot of people do think she is too short. That's scaling with Mattel, though. It really is all over the place, so maybe a hair short, I get that. But beautiful soft goods, you got the iconic hat, and it is an older version of Trish Stratus, so you can almost say first time in the line from her comeback of a year ago or so. Very cool to get this era of Trish Stratus. You get her signature pose with her hand. Just a very, very good Trish Stratus, in my opinion, that really slipped under the radar, via myself included. But as I went through all the elites I unboxed on this channel, as you guys know, every single one, this one really stood out. So I'm sticking old Trish from 111 at number 10. We roll on at number 9, and number 9 was a very, very good figure that many people out there, I would say from what I've seen, the majority of people didn't really care for. And I don't know if that's me just being more of a wrestling historian, going through as much wrestling as I could when I was a kid, going back to black and white matches from the 60s, 70s, you name it. I love all aspects of wrestling, and I love it when guys get figures of different points in their careers. And that's what we got with this one, as it was a Mattel Creations figure coming in at number 9. It is Wrestling Gear Gorilla Monsoon. And I'd be lying to you if somebody said, what do you think of first with Gorilla Monsoon, that I said wrestler? It would be announcer, it would be commentator for sure. However, I remember being a little kid being absolutely shocked, renting a VHS tape at the video store and seeing old matches and seeing Gorilla Monsoon as a wrestler. I was absolutely shocked, because when I came into wrestling, he was long out of wrestling in the ring for sure. So to get a version of Gorilla in his wrestling gear, which we'd only got prior from Jakks Classics, I really do like this one. And it is definitely a sleeper figure if you ask me. Didn't quite make my top 10 list. There's a lot better figures than this, but for what this represents, the history of wrestling, and my hope that we continue some of these 2-4 packs in the future, I would love to see more of those in 2025 and beyond. This Gorilla Monsoon hit me where I want to be hit, and that was at number 9 in this very countdown. Next up, we're feeling great at number 8, and the number 8 selection for me is part of my sleeper list. But I gotta imagine a lot of guys out there, and the gals too, let's be honest, the gals too, probably have this in their top 10 elites of 2024. For me, if you would have put this on a piece of paper and said, hey, here's what's coming out this year, there's no way it would have been on either of these lists. But man, getting this one in hand, reviewing it on the channel, it was truly an amazing figure, but just not good enough to make my top 10, and I'll explain myself here. It is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Roman Reigns edition. Of course, the crossover event of a lifetime we never knew we needed. I don't like this one as much as maybe some others just because it's made up fantasy gear. It's a crossover gear. It's not dye in the weeds, of course, traditional Mattel Elite of their traditional looks. It still looks very cool. I just don't have nostalgia for this crossover. Now, if Roman Reigns was actually in the Turtle show when I was a kid, that'd be a different story. But a cool figure is a cool figure. It will propel you into the list. That's not a bad piece of business at all. I like this one. It's just not good enough for my actual top 10. And like I said, I can see a lot of people out there have this in their actual top 10. And it's your list. I can't disagree. So Shredder version of Roman Reigns coming in at number 8. Next up, we're at the number 7 in my top 10 sleeper elites of 2024. And what we talked about with number 8, you can put a lot of that towards number 7, as we do got Cody Rhodes from the same crossover event of a generation right here. Now, I love this Cody. Cody, good friend of the channel, good buddy, good He-Man brother out there. I like Cody. I like all the Cody figures. I'm in for all the Cody figures. However, once again, feels a little, I don't want to say forced, but it is a crossover. It is something I don't have a deep nostalgic history with, so that does lose a point or two for me here. Very cool, but it just would be even cooler if Cody actually wore this to the ring for a pay-per-view or something like that, just to give it a little bit more resonation in my collecting, I guess. I don't know, but it is a cool one, the way it looks, but at the end of the day, you take that mask off, you just got a regular Cody. You got a regular Cody with different paint going on. It's still a really cool figure. It just doesn't resonate with me as much as it does probably some others out there. So for Cody Rhodes, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles version, he comes in at number 7. The countdown continues, this time over to number 6, and number 6 figure is one I assume we'll get some more figures from in 2025 and beyond, as he recently re-signed a Legends deal with the WWE. Who are we talking about? Well, we're taking a trip to Target. We're taking a trip to the Legends section. We're talking about Kurt Angle, and I gotta be honest, I actually like this Kurt Angle more than the Ultimate we got with his triumphant return to the Elite line, but there's so many different, or I guess Ultimate line for that one, but there's so many different Kurt Angle figures that we can get over the next couple of years, but this is a pretty good start in the Elite line. Wouldn't be shocked to see maybe that defining moment get a redressing, maybe from the vault, something like that, but there's a lot of different ones. Would love to see one with the headgear on, the shaved head, that whole time frame with Edge. That would be a cool one to have as well. Just a lot of meat on the Kurt Angle bone, and I think this was a good start here in 2024. That's why he's coming in at number 6. We've hit the halfway point in the countdown. You got your list together. Put it in the comments down below. You know the drill by now. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, as we got videos every single day. Plenty of best of content and a new collection tour of my entire collection. Part 1 and Part 2. Check them out if you have not already. But here we are at number 5. And for number 5, we're taking a trip to Walmart. Dangerous this time of year. Door dings for everyone if you're not careful at Walmart. But here we are at number 5. And we're going to the Monday Night Wars Elite. And this is a true definition of a sleeper figure, as this character's had many releases over the years from a lot of different personas. But I'm saying it right now, this may be my favorite figure ever of one Sean Waltman, of course, as X-Pac. The regular edition here, I have yet to track down the Thug Chase. Not too much difference between the two, outside of some printing on the singlet. But man, oh man, a sleeper figure. I think this is the best Sean Waltman head we have ever had. I would not be shocked to see him in the Ultimate Edition line one of these days, maybe Monday Night Wars Ultimate as well. But a very, very good figure, and one that kind of flew under the radar, as a lot of his figures do. Absolutely do love this one, though. Definitely worth a pickup if you can find it, of course, at your local Walmart. Old X-Pac, or maybe 6. I guess 6 in this case. I don't know, let me know. We'll walk that back a little bit. Sean Waltman, 123 Kid, Lightning Kid, X-Pac. How about 6? There we go. He's coming in, of course, here at number 5. We Continue the countdown, of course, at number 4, working our way to number 1. And number 4, we take another trip to Target. Not quite as dangerous as Walmart this time of year, but also its own dangers from time to time. But we take a trip to Target. Once again, for the Legends line, we go to Jim the Anvil Neidhart at number 4. Now, Neidhart, obviously known as a member of the Hart Foundation mostly, but of course, the new foundation taken off at one time or another, and a very cool deep-cut version of Jim the Anvil Neidhart. But what makes this figure even better is it is a 2-in-1, as you do get the Who? Yes, Who. You can do a 2-in-1, and a lot of people picking up this Neidhart right now as it is started to go to clearance to get a Who in their collection. So that makes this figure feel a little extra special, but then you take it one step further, and you can dress up an Owen Hart AEW figure as well. Obviously not quite there, but close enough to be dangerous. That's what I'm going to call it. So very fun with this Jim Neidhart just by himself. But the possibilities of what else you can do with this one makes this a very good sleeper figure, especially if you're picking them up at clearance prices. That's why Jim the Anvil Neidhart comes in at number 4. Down to the final 3 sleeper elites of 2024. The number 3 selection is one of my high school absolute favorite wrestlers. Absolutely loved everything about it, especially his entrance. It would speak to my heavy metal loving heart, of course. Even my boys Motorhead redid his theme in ECW, part of the ECW soundtrack once upon a time. Who are we going to? Well, we're going to the regular edition. We're going to enter the Sandman. The Sandman finally in the Mattel Elite line with a regular and chase version. And we even got Hardcore Hat coming up as a Walmart exclusive in 2025. I love the Sandman, as I said, so I'm very happy to finally get him in, of course, the Mattel Elite line here. Beautiful soft goods. Love the added barbed wire. You got the beer can with him. You got the kendo stick. There's just a lot to like about this Sandman, especially if you were a hardcore ECW fan as I was back in the day. Some people did not like the head sculpt on this one. I do like the head sculpt. I've heard a lot of people say it looks more like Shane Douglas than, of course, the Sandman. Not for me, it does not. And once again, your mileage may vary, as we always say here on this YouTube channel. But just such a fun figure. Just a standout on my ECW shelf. The Sandman comes in at number 3. Down to the final 2 figures in the top 10 sleeper figures of 2024, part of the Mattel Elite brand for me. And the number 2 one just narrowly missing the traditional top 10 and just missing by 1 the top 5 female figures of 2024. This performer having a standout 2024, gearing up for a huge 2025, I would have to imagine, as she is now the United States champion. We're going to the regular edition Chelsea Green here. A fabulous figure, great likeness here. I love the extra attention to details with the hand going on like a young Rizzler, of course. Got the headgear, hat, sure, hat, headgear, you know what I mean, hat here, and then you got the soft goods skirt. Just a fabulous version of Chelsea Green, and have to imagine we're going to have more Chelsea Greens in the future. I just listed all of her accomplishments, being on TV every week, and now the first ever U.S. champion. I could see that U.S. championship win gear from Saturday night's main event with title belt coming probably sometime in 2025, so we'll stay tuned for that. But it's narrowly missing the top 10, just narrowly missing the number 1 spot in the sleeper top 10 is Chelsea Green, which means there can only be one. What is the number 1 sleeper figure of the Mattel Elite line in 2024? Stay tuned. Here we are, we're at the number 1 sleeper Mattel Elite figure of 2024 as voted by me. Once again, get your list together, put it in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel while you're at it, as we got videos every single day, including a ton of best of countdown videos to end the year on top of that new collection tour. Check it out if you have not already. But here we are, number 1. And number 1, we summon the power of the warrior. Once again this year, we had quite a few warriors. Not enough for me, but we got quite a few warriors. And I'm an Ultimate Warrior guy. And that's what goes on with these lists. There's nostalgia, fandom, figures, quality of figures. There's a lot that goes into these lists. But nostalgia and being a fan of that performer is one of the big ones for me. And that's what brought this one to number 1, as this was my favorite Mattel Ultimate Warrior figure of all time. However, he got re-released part of the Ringside Collectible Vault series. It is the former Hall of Champions Ultimate Warrior, obviously upgraded a little bit with the new pinless joint technology and some new cleaner things. I love the old figure. I love this one even more. I would bring in this to the traditional top 10. Honestly, it probably would have been the #1 figure in my traditional top 10 if this was the first time we had ever got this. But it doesn't feel quite as new when it is a re-release of an old one. But man, oh man, there's no denying the power of the Ultimate Warrior. This figure is just breathtakingly beautiful. Loved it from the minute I first saw it at Target. Loved it when it came back from the vault. Just a favorite figure of mine in the entire Elite line. And he's coming in as the #1 sleeper Elite of 2024. So there it is. Quite the list. Quite the different character list on this one too. Very all over the place. You got legends, you got current talent, you got Hall of Famers, some of the greatest of all time. A little bit of something for everybody in this top 10 list. And once again, put your list in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channels, check out my Patreon for early access to all my channel's videos, ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. My book, now available on Kindle. It is the complete guide to the Jakks Class Superstars series, almost 700 pages. You too could be a Jakks Class Superstars expert. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram, and now on TikTok. So for the Ultimate Warrior and the rest of his comrades, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.